Well, the synagogue of Satan, what it wants is of little importance compared to what the Almighty God wants. What does Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad want? That's the bigger question. And that's a question that any president will have to confront and deal with, no matter who gets in office. So I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not pro-Joseph Biden. I'm a divine warner from God to tell any one of them who eventually ends up in office, you can do all you want to do about this policy and that policy and all the extraneous things, but God's wrath will continue to intensify until you bow down to what he wants. And the question is, how much will he have to destroy of this nation before you come to that conclusion? Well, Allah wants Master Fard Muhammad, his people, to choose him and what he has planned for them. He does. He wants the black people of the Western Hemisphere, the original people, to choose him and accept what he has planned for them, and giving us a land of our own and making us the foundation of his earthly kingdom. He would like us to come willingly, but he's not going to wait for us. Master Fard Muhammad wants to end the world of Yaqub, which he was born to do, and the rule of the synagogue of Satan, who is from Yaqub, so that human beings throughout the earth can be released from the veritable hell that has been made attractive to us, to our own misery. And since Allah is all powerful, he will and is accomplishing his will. The question for black people in particular is, how far will Allah permit the synagogue of Satan to go in its plan of destruction in order to convince us to submit to his will? It don't get any more direct than that. And the same question can be applied to the Caucasian people. But is it possible for Caucasian people to see and then admit that they have been manipulated by the few so-called Jews who belong to the synagogue of Satan? Well, it is anticipated that the U.S. Supreme Court will have a significant role in resolving the litigations that will ultimately determine the elected president. That's already being spoken of now. So this is a major task for the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, because many lawyers on both sides are not interested in the truth or in facts. They have allegiances to others that are more important than the fate of the American people. I'm talking about lawyers. Those who go to law school and they take this oath that they will uphold the Constitution and generally righteousness. No, they're bought and paid for. So these blind and elitist lawyers are indeed blind to the possible and probable wickedness of the mass news media that has and continues to unfold their diabolical plan. So we can safely presume that strategies are being formulated by those who intend to keep President Trump in office by any means necessary, because they believe he won the election. Listen to what I'm saying. Now, my people, you have no clue as to what this nation is confronting. I'm going to say it again. We can safely presume that strategies are being formulated by those who intend to keep President Trump in office by any means necessary, because they believe he won the election. So these blind lawyers are underestimating the allegiance of the law enforcement in the U.S. military to President Trump. Do you think that they will simply go along with this wickedness? See, just because you say that man won, and everybody can see clearly that there's a lot of corruption involved, and you fail to not resolve it, you think they just gonna go along because you say this man is commander in chief? My Lord, it's a new day today. Now, I'm not blind, so I'm trying to help you to see, because you are blind. Well, in the Holy Quran, Allah offers guidance to the U.S. Supreme Court. Because if that situation gets in your lap, based on what you do and explain what you're doing, could determine the fate of this nation. Now, of course, you can expect to be maligned by the mass news media because they don't give a damn about you anyway, or your children. I'm talking to the Supreme Court justices. They want their way, or if it's up to them, you all get on the highway. Well, it states in the Holy Quran, guidance for the U.S. Supreme Court. Excuse me. And if two factions among the believers should fight, then make settlement between the two. But if one of them oppresses the other, I guess based on the decision they didn't like, or the settlement, then fight against the one that oppresses until it returns to the ordinance of Allah. And if it returns, then make settlement between them in justice and act justly. Indeed, Allah loves those who act justly. Now, no matter how bad both groups, Republican and Democrats, talking to the common people too, as well as the leadership, no matter how bad these two groups want their man, so to speak, to be the winner, there are laws and ordinances that must be used to settle disputes of an apparent and proven wrongdoing in this election. Now, the mass news media, which is absolutely satanic, unfortunately, it influences so many people who are just really ignorant of their own government. How come you don't know the dates when the states must certify the votes? How come you don't know the dates when the Congress must certify the vote or the elected president? That's always has been. But many people don't know that. So the synagogue of Satan can corral its corrupt mass news media and say that person's the winner. And then try to force the Trump administration to make arrangements for the transfer of power in the middle of litigation, and then call those charges baseless and try to rile the people up against something that they know as intelligent people is unfolding. I mean, the way that it should go. But they want to ignore that because they're feeding on the ignorance of the masses. That's how diabolical they are. They're not fake news. They're demonic people.